guys, you're watching Let Your Voices Be Heard, a podcast show. And guess where we're at today? We're live on site. We're at the MakerParkRadio here at 450 Front Street in Staten Island. And we have the amazing CEO of MakerParkRadio, Kristin Wallace. So we're going to hear about her, what MakerParkRadio is about, what she has coming up, and the past and the future of it. So definitely keep on watching, and if you can't catch the live, always catch the replay. The full interview is going to be right here on this page, but we will also upload it to our YouTube channels and, of course, our Facebook page. So I want to go ahead and introduce to you Kristin Wallace. Hey!
Hi.
Kristin, thank you so much for being here today. And I'm on the sideline, guys. I'm right here, okay? But thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you taking the time out for the show.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I was like, are you sure it's me that you want to talk to?
You're the main woman over here.
There's 1,000 other names you can talk to.
Anyway, I know, but I appreciate it because this is also part of our women empowerment, our women entrepreneur episodes. And of course, we love to have always the majority of the women that come on to the show because we want to empower them. We want to encourage them. Mm-hmm. And you're one of our pillars here in Staten Island community. Mm-hmm. You know, yes, you are. I mean, sometimes people's like, no, but yes, you are. Mm-hmm. You've done a lot of amazing things here for the past few years in Staten Island. Mm-hmm. You have a great platform here for local artists in order for them to express their creativity and their artistry. So definitely, of course, how am I not going to come here and have you on the show? But like I said, thank you so much for being here today. Sure. All right. So let's start with what inspired you to be able to create this business, to be able to make MakerPark what it is now?
Well, it started almost 7.5 years ago at this point, and I had moved to Staten Island from Brooklyn, where I was with an infant and a teenager and two toddler twins, and I was retired from the music business, so I thought, and I got really isolated. I felt really bored, very isolated. I was really having a hard time finding my people or anything. And I noticed in Staten Island that everything was sort of like in its own little pockets and its own little, like siloed into its own little things, but there wasn't anything that really brought things together. But I did find Staten Island Arts at that time. And at the time they were looking for an intern for their Lumen Festival, which was taking place at the salt dock, Atlantic Salt, along the water. And that was like an art fest, but they had like a stage area. And so I applied to be a Lumentern, and I was working with them over that time. And I did a lot of like the production work and behind the scenes stuff, contracting and stuff like that, right. And which is stuff I already know how to do. But when they had the event, like all of these people started showing up, and I started realizing that there were people here who wanted to have, events that brought people together that were interested in the arts here. And so it was kind of like, if you build it, they will come kind of thing. And so that summer, I DJ'd the wedding of the then director, Monica Valenzuela. And I was Scott and DB from Staten Island Makerspace were in at that wedding, and they said, oh, we have, studio spaces here. Would you be interested in, coming? I know that you have a music studio. Maybe you'd want to come do there. And I was like, I make a racket, I make techno, you guys make a whole bunch of noise. I don't think that would work, but I have an idea for one of your shipping containers. So originally this place was meant to be in a shipping container across the street, but that's a whole nother story. But there's other reasons why I started it as well. I felt that there was polarizing media, and Staten Island was so polarized, and it really bothered me a lot that there was not a sort of healthy place for discourse, and there wasn't a place where people could get to know who each other's neighbors were, so that we could understand each other and find empathy through the arts of each other's arts and culture. And so that was sort of the underlying, motivation to feel very frustrated at the, how separate it was. And then also my extreme isolation at the time, where I really felt like I needed to find my people. So I created a thing along with my husband, Tom, to make those people kind of come to me in a way.
Bring people together. Yeah. I mean, that's really inspiring, when you say, find your people, right? Because sometimes we may think that we're starting something somewhere and it's not receptive to it. But you definitely did find your people.
Yeah, and my people, that my definition over the years has expanded to be so much more than I thought it was. Originally, I just thought it was like people who like concerts and music nerds, and that's who it is. But it's way more. But with music, most of the time, music and the arts being the common thread amongst everybody.
Definitely. Well, you did a great job for that. Definitely. So, Maker Park Radio. Now, you said that it's been here how long? How many years?
Like 7.5, almost 7.5. Yeah.
What were the challenges to start?
Oh man, when we started, we had no clue what we were doing. We started like we were gonna get in the shipping container across the street, but then I fought with the city about it, and they're like, "Well, we need an egress and an egress, and we need this other thing." And I was like, "Well, here's 10 places it's done in Manhattan and Brooklyn, and why can't we do that here?" And then we just were frustrated, and so Scott and DB from Makerspace were like, "Well, do you want to use this space temporarily?" And so it is definitely not temporarily. We built out this place that was used as like a closet at the time. And I'm kind of glad it ended up this way, because it sort of made it, more involved with Makerspace. If you don't know, we're Maker Park Radio, but we're located inside of Makerspace NYC in Staten Island. Their Staten Island location. They have a Brooklyn location.
Right.
But this is like, a very small space connected to a much larger space over there.
Right.
Yeah.
You could tell. Yeah, there's a difference between the studio, the studio here, and then from there. So Makerspace is something that is separate from.
Yeah, they're a separate nonprofit, but we're very much involved. Where Maker Park Radio does a lot of the events in Maker Park, which is the park we actually look out over, which is a community space that was once used, which was once like 15 burnout cars, tons and tons of junk.
Wow.
Makerspace would move them, and then they would get more dumping, and then we still struggle with dumping over there a lot. Like there's like, oh look, there's a hot water cooler today, like it'll be over there. Like, we still have to deal with that. But there's like a sidewalk in, and there's electric, and there's a stage now, and there's sculpture park, and there's like bees up the hill, and there's it's used throughout the summer for us to do events or co-produce events with certain people, so it's other nonprofits. So it's it's a labor of love, but it's almost Maker Park Radio is like 3 different things. It's evolved to 3 different things. So like there's the radio station, which is like 120 volunteer DJs and show hosts approximately. I haven't counted recently, but it's in there, and it's the stuff that we produce in the park throughout the summer, and live stuff. And then last year we started Sonic Lab, which is earlier this year, we started Sonic Lab, which is classes and workshops in audio. So it's how to vinyl DJ, how to digital DJ, how to do live sound. That's a whole thing that's very hard to get training in. Right. And also some broadcasting skills, how to do interview skills, things like that. So yeah, so that is a whole nother thing, because I had nothing else going on. But yeah, we just started that. And so yeah, it's evolved. It's a sum of its parts. It really is. I mean, to run an all volunteer organization, including myself, it's just, you basically, I've learned so much along the way about dealing with volunteers, especially, and how to get volunteers involved and
Right.
things like that.
Have you always been into music?
Yes, always. Yeah. So when I was about me personally, yeah. When I was in high school, I borrowed my sister's college ID, and
Okay.
she went to Trenton State College now, called something else. It's now something university. And yeah, and I started working at the radio station there. So, and I was like 16 or something like that. And so I started in radio, and someone ended up in radio, which is really, really funny. But yeah, music was always my escape. You know, I was always putting headphones on, and you know, the ones with the sponges and the Walkman, and like walking around all over the place, and spending my summers in New York City, and spending the money I would make at the record stores right immediately the second I bought it. I got paid, I would go spend it on music. So yes, always music.
I remember being in Virgin Atlantic store over there in Times Square. That was really cool. I wish they would bring something like that back. And there was the other one, Sam Goody, I think it was also. Yeah, show my age.
We're partners in a record store in Park Slope, Brooklyn called Sterling Records.
Oh, really?
As well.
Oh, wow,
so
that's amazing.
There's that. And we're going to be broadcasting from there every Monday starting September the 9th.
Wow, that's awesome to know.
So that's a whole nother shebang.
Oh man, that's good to know. See, that's why we came.
Yeah, just to introduce who we are over there. You know, we're record nerds, and we just figured out. You know, we have the person that started that over there is one of our DJs. He was actually the bartender where Tom and I met at a bar in Park Slope, Brooklyn.
Oh, really?
And so all these years later, you know, we're working with him again on that. So.
That's really awesome. You know, keep the momentum going, and you know, partnering up with other people that have love for the music.
Yes.
You know, because like you said, you know, you put on your headphones and it's like you drown your everything into that, you know. And I've always loved music, of course. I'm really more of a house head. I love house music, Afro beats. I used to be out always dancing, so I levitate to that, you know, to be able to, you know, get into the zone, as you can say.
Oh yeah, I learned how to DJ. I taught myself to DJ over a period of time, and I was doing a sort of melodic house and techno, and then I decided that I wanted to start learning more about Afro house, and I thought, all right, I'm just going to do one show that's Afro house. And then I realized Afro house was like a giant thing you could dig into. That's like from, you know, Europe and South America and this and that. It's like so much, and I was just sort of immersed in it for like a few months, just trying to like understand it. But
I think it's just it's the beats, the bass, those 808 drums. It really hits. It goes through.
It works. Yeah, I agree, and it's so happy. Like, I used to tour manage DJs as well, and so I would work with a DJ called Carl Cox, who's like one of the largest DJs in the world. And so touring and doing stuff with him was really
he's amazing, though.
Just can make a crowd of like 20,000 people go complete ape shit, handmade signs and stuff. It's like, amazing. He's a great guy too.
There's so many DJs, Todd Terry, and what's the other Basement
Jaxx?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, it's such a large. I love Black Coffee.
Oh,
you know, he's amazing at what he does.
Totally agree.
You know, so many great DJs out there. You should really try to bring them over here to Staten Island, but that would be crazy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
We couldn't afford them. But yeah, it would be nice to get some electronic music. A lot of people, you know, we book this shows in the park, and usually we start talking to other DJs about different ideas of what we should do the following year. And many times electronic music has come up, but we've never really done it, been able to make it sort of figured out how to make it work, because electronic music is 1,000 different things, and what direction you would go into really. Yeah, definitely. You know, it's a whole other thing. Yeah. But anyway, EDMs, you know, they're really great. It's a bit of wide spread out throughout the whole world too. So let's go ahead and let me see.
how do you connect with other artists, like for them to be able to come through Maker Park? How do you conduct when you have an event? Because you have a lot of events. I think you just had was it the what was the last event that you had? It was
the one on Saturday got canceled because of thunderstorms.
Yeah,
and
that's coming up September
13th, rescheduled first. And then the one before that was our anniversary fest, and then we had a Brazilian event, and then we had punk rock mini golf. First 2 weekends in June, punk rock mini golf. I think next year might be the last year we do it. I'm not sure, but it's like a 9-hole mini golf course that is put together with a whole bunch of local artists, and to sort of commemorate the history of punk rock, basically.
Yeah.
And each year, sort of, we add a little bit more, and a bunch of artists like contribute. This year, those 12-foot long skeletons that you get at Home Depot.
Yeah.
So I got one of those, and they're hard to get, actually.
Yeah.
They became on sale. There's like a whole Facebook group of people that like love the 12-foot long skeletons.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, they're on sale. They're just back in stock. So I like ran over there and bought this freaking skeleton. And so I made it into a Joey Ramone this year with my friend Maggie and Scott. But like the torso was on my dining room table, and I literally was like hand sewing a pair of jeans.
Oh my God.
On this like 12-foot long skeletons. My kids are like, "Hey mom, what's up? Just a normal day in your house."
That's so funny.
But it was really, really, really fun, and it's like 20 bands, and it's very kid friendly, and we get like 1,000 people or more.
Yeah.
To that.
And I'm gonna tell you, all of the events that you've had here, it's been amazing.
I should answer your question though.
Huh?
How does it evolve?
Yes.
Yeah.
How is it that you're able to have these amazing bands? Because you've for the Brazilian fest, that was amazing. I came here last year. For people that don't know, I also attend some of the events that are here as well as a vendor and as, of course, as an artist. And that's why it's like, it's amazing when you have events here. Who makes up all of these events? Like,
I love when someone comes to me or Tom with an idea for an event. Like, and so like, if someone was like, a couple years ago, someone was like, I really want to do like a neo soul event, or the Caribbean Fete that we do, the Caribbean show that's here, they wanted to do a Caribbean Fete.
Right.
But so we talk about it, and together we work to curate it.
Right.
And I love that it's their idea so that they feel like ownership of it, and they can visualize how they want it, and then the radio station sort of provides the structure and infrastructure, and then my knowledge of promotion and our just knowing how to throw events is able to sort of make that happen. So in the case of the Brazil event, both of those were with Jacqueline Caruso, who's a DJ here. She's a DJ Mon Amour. So she had an idea of the artists that she wanted, and then a few of the artists were connections of mine.
Right.
And so together, it became this we tried to make a bill that was like the older Foro music with the newer artist that's sort of up and coming. And then sort of put that all together, and then MakerParkRadio provides like the structure, so to speak, of an event. The same thing. We have a Caribbean Fete coming up again in September. This year and that's with the Caribbean community, and it really, there's no way that I could do that event without them. I'm not going to be like, hi, my name's Kristin, and I would really like it if you guys came to my Caribbean event. Like, that would just not...
I know, it would not work.
Yes. It wouldn't. It has to be like, their DJ's here, and that's their cool idea, and I'll do whatever I can to make it happen.
That's really cool that you give the freedom of creativity to a lot of people. Somebody's always looking to have that opportunity, because it's something that really brings the whole community together. So
because we're not one thing. I mean, it's the pluses and minuses of the radio station is that we cast a wide net,
Right.
in that it's just, you turn on whatever radio station, you know what you're going to get. But this is like community radio. It's like true community radio put together by community members,
Right.
with zero to a lot of experience. And so our events can't just be one thing for one particular type of music.
Right.
It has to be for the people that call this place home and make it their type of music. And if they feel so inspired to want to do an event, then let's try to make it happen.
Yeah.
As some finances is a big part of it. Sometimes we have ideas and it's just we can only do so many in a season.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're all volunteer run, and you don't want to like burn out your volunteers either. So
yeah,
you just need to sort of, I don't know, make it,
gotta make it happen.
balance it out,
Yeah.
And then, you have to see what else is going on, other events that are happening. I work with Summer Stage for a number of years, so I'm always just like, let's figure out what you guys are doing. So I'm not doing what you're doing.
Right.
Like, we're going to do something totally different. So.
But that's very considerable because, considering that you are big here on Staten Island as well, and also Summer Stage is huge,
Yeah, I was so fortunate to have Summer Stage here. I really think so. I mean, I've been with my pom-poms about Staten Island as a non-Staten Islander that got dragged here like 15 years ago.
I feel
They're like, you're so Staten Island. And I was like, shut up. I'm not Staten Island. But yeah, I am. I like talked to Staten Island. And I was talking to Summer Stage, and I'm like, you guys coming back? You guys have to keep coming to Staten Island. And so I've been trying to use whatever tools and resources I have to help get the word out about what they're trying to do. And, they're a nonprofit as well. They're a small, they're not as huge as people think. And they need local people to help them sort of navigate certain, aspects of how to promote within their community. And I think they do a really good job at connecting with people on the local level. And I think, like any nonprofit, they year to year varies and variables vary. So they're doing the best they can, and I think they're doing a fantastic job.
They've been around for a long time too, so definitely they have been doing a great job of that. So
yeah, and it's great. And so if I'm talking to them, like this year, I really wanted like a Latin orchestra, and it's really hard to get a Latin orchestra because it's a bunch of members and it's expensive.
It is.
So finally, this year we have Tito. We have us on the Sunday.
I saw that.
So I'm really psyched about that. And so the people that I know, the Latin DJs that are here or have been involved in the past, I can just sort of like be like, hey guys, I need your help. Can you help me get the word out? And it works out.
It's amazing because sometimes. Because of course, I do events as well. We just had the Salsa Dance Festival there at the Empire Outlets. And
that was you. I didn't know that was you. That's really cool.
That was me. Yes.
Wow, very, very cool.
Thank you. But it was hard to try to put things together.
Yeah.
As an event coordinator, also, just to try to get artists and performers to come and hey, are you coming, or however you set up or however your connections are. It's just the energy that we put into it, because we want to be able to create this, place that people want to come, and they're always looking for something fun to do, right? Dancing, especially in the spring and summertime. Winter is always a drag.
And that's a unique event. That's a really cool, special thing. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that would be interested in if that builds throughout time. Like, hold on to it. Don't stop.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Look, I've had 40 years in the music business where I know a lot of people. Being my age, you just know people and agents and bands and whatnot. Even with that, it's a challenge to book stuff in Staten Island.
It is.
Because you're inside the radius of New York City. So if a band is coming to town, they're not going to want to play Staten Island, and you're too close to be. You're like considered competition. So you have to talk to agents and managers and things and say, like, it's New York City, but it's actually not. Like, it is, but it isn't, because it's its own thing, and it's a smaller population, and a smaller population even still of people interested in music and arts. And so if you could, give it a shot.
Yeah.
And if you have an off day or whatever, if you're between tours or something like that,
right,
where you can. And then over time, you build up trust and momentum that the artist showed up and they were treated professionally.
Right.
And they realized it was a community of people trying to do something cool.
Definitely.
In a very, not a challenging place that has its challenges. And so eventually over time you say, well, we had so-and-so last year.
Right.
How about this? Like for us to get Lee Fields this year and Snack Time that was a really, really big one for us. And that was just like, that took some serious, like, begging, can you please,
Gift of gab. You have to have the gift of gab sometimes. Because it's like, you got to know, like, hey, we got to hit those points.
Well, what helped is some of the band members are from Staten Island, so they knew, like, what we do and were able to describe it.
Right.
So I spend half my time describing what this place is. Even, that's funny with, like, grant writing, too. It's like I get in the rut of talking way too much about trying to describe the challenges of Staten Island and never getting to my freaking point. And I'm trying to get better at that.
Let me tell you, it is challenging when it comes to Staten Island. As far as, like you said, you're from Brooklyn originally.
No, I'm from Trenton originally.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But then, I'm from Brooklyn originally.
But I was living in Brooklyn.
For a little while. Okay. And then you come here, right? And then, I found it to be where I'm coming to create these events and stuff like that. And it's like Staten Island. Wow. I don't know if I want to go to Staten Island. I'm like, same thing that you said. You spend this time explaining, like Staten Island is. But you know what? We do it because of the passion that we have. And we want to be able to bring those people over that water, over that bridge, and be able to come and know what Staten Island is about. So as far as you're passionate about it, I'm passionate about it too. And like I said, it can be challenging at times, but people still do come. So we must be doing something right. Definitely,
Yeah.
And
it's worth it when you do it, and it's great. But then you're just like, wow, why did I put myself like through all that just to like have this giant pain in the ass? But it's really rewarding. I'm just talking shit. It's rewarding.
It is rewarding. It is rewarding once it's a lot of work, but it's rewarding. Definitely.
Yeah.
How can an artist join or DJ that want to be able to come over here and scratch the tables and be a part of the DJ studio here?
Send an email to MakerParkRadio@gmail.com.
Okay.
So you don't need any experience to DJ. We do have classes and we do training, one-on-one training if you need it. But certain radio stations have a set way of DJing. You have to DJ that particular way. And there are many different ways to DJ. You can, in my opinion, there's vinyl DJing, there's digital DJing, there's DJing, a combination of different ways, USB using Tractor or DJ Pro or Serato. You can use any of those. You can even come in and put your controller on top of this if you're comfortable using your controller. If you want to play off of your laptop, you can play off of your laptop. Because in my opinion, DJing is telling a story with the tools you have to work with.
Right.
And I've seen people come in here with like mad skills and all this shit, but like musically, you're just like, like, right. I don't know what that's cool and all, but like, I'm just really not following your set at all.
Right.
And there's some people that can like just like drop a record at a 45 at the right time in a room and make everybody go crazy. Like DJing is it's so many different things. Like some of our working DJs that like DJ out and get in clubs or get paid to DJ parties come in here to play their obscure stuff or stuff they grew up with listening to in their house, and they want to keep that going, and or people that just want to come and practice. So if you want to, there's a house laptop available. You don't need anything but yourself to come in and DJ. And for the most part, the only reason we don't take a DJs is if it's like talk radio. It's got to be arts based and preferably music based. And then only if we have a certain amount of one particular genre. Like right now, like rock, like a specific section of rock, like we're good there. We don't need more of that. And that gets a lot of airplay as it is. So, you know.
Okay.
Other than that, you know,
that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
What's your favorite type of genre of music? We want to know what Kristin likes.
I don't know. It really evolves. Like for a long time, I was into electronic music, and right now I'm listening to more like post-punk before it was called post-punk, like kind of like European, like early electro stuff I'm like listening to at the moment. It's kind of like a weird niche, but I don't know. It's not like right now, but like there's times I like other stuff, like
you're open to a lot of different type of genres, but we always have a favorite, you know, like I want to listen to this record today.
Like my favorite is always going to be like what I grew up with, like 80s, like The Cure and like Susie and the Banshees and all that stuff. No, that's past me. That's more 90s. I'm more like
the 80s,
like earlier, yeah, like, you know, in the mid 80s, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like it makes sense to me. Like for a while I toured with like industrial bands and then I toured with electronic music. So for me, I see the line between industrial and techno and punk and techno. Like I can see the thread that follows through it that I can sort of get musically. So all of that stuff I love. But meanwhile, at my house, you know, my husband's playing like early country and he's playing rockabilly and or reggae, and I love all that stuff too. So there isn't anything I particularly dislike.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff that's just not my cup of tea, but there's nothing that I really dislike.
But that's good.
Yeah.
Because I think music is just universal, right?
No doubt.
It speaks in so many different languages to other people. I mean, you have you know, international people that, you know, rapping to American hip hop, you know, and I feel like with music, you can also learn a new language. Mm-hmm. That's crazy to me because it's like you're like there's an Italian song. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I'm singing to it. But I'm like, okay, so it makes me want to look up. I'm like, what am I singing?
You're like, I'm going to the grocery store and I'm buying some bread.
Right.
Like.
So, but I learned new words, and I'm like, that's awesome. My God, that's crazy. Like, you would learn new words from another language through music. Mm-hmm. So even that, you know, that's how universal music is. So it's just crazy to me, like, how it is.
Well, that's the idea behind the radio station, is to put stuff next to each other, and so that people may be tuned in to see their friend show who's playing, you know, Latin jazz, and then the next show that's coming on is something maybe, you know, that's like a R&B show or something, and maybe they keep listening. So the idea is to perhaps say, hey, wait a minute, you know, I like that, I kind of like that stuff too, that this next person, to sort of expand on something. Or if the person is talking and it's an artist interview and they're talking about their experience, you know, and maybe they can't relate to that particular type of music that they're playing, but they can relate to the story that they're telling. Mm-hmm. Like we've had, you know, Killsborough has done a show on here, and they interview people that are brewers, but it's also a music-based show. Right. But like the brewers come in, like I like beer, but I don't want to talk about it for like, you know, an hour. But sometimes I listen to like their story about what it takes as an art and a science and their whole life savings and their vision to start this idea of this particular brewery. And then it turns out that I'm like tearing up listening to the guy talking about beer because he's talking about how hard this journey is for him. And so you can find like commonality in each other that you wouldn't necessarily seek out. But if you find it, it can be just a really great thing. And then when those shows like meet each other in the hallway after their shows, they're like, hey, that was a great show. I really like that track that you were playing, blah, blah, blah. Right. And these people would have never have met each other in a bazillion years because their music taste seems so different. Yeah. You know? It's crazy. Cool to see
the connection that music makes, right?
Yes, it really, really is. And we learned over COVID more than anybody. Not more than anybody, but we stayed open during COVID. Right. We learned more than anything, I should say, how community really makes a huge difference in people's lives.
It does.
You know, we kept streaming from home. We got everybody equipment.
Right.
We trained 120. I was 130 at the time of
Wow.
people that were DJing. We got a whole bunch of equipment to everybody to stream from home, and the quality went down, but it didn't matter.
Right.
What people would get online and just start to cry, were so excited that they could reconnect with other people, and we realized how meaningful that community was for everyone's health, mental health, and important part to have an important part.
Definitely.
To be an important part of their lives, you know. As much as I'm like one of these people who's like, you know, I don't want to be interviewed, and I don't want to be, you know, talk to people